What's up, Bills Mafia? The Buffalo Bills and Brandon Beane had to make some tough decisions this week and got rid of some of Bills Mafia's favorite players. And it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. But before we get to that, let's get to that intro.
This is PZ Music.
Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report. I am Tommy. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell because I always forget to tell you. Bills Mafia, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday, but it had to be done. It had to be done. The Buffalo Bills were in the red in the salary cap. We all knew this. We all knew this going into the 2024 offseason, and moves had to be made. I am surprised on a few. I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised on a few. I'm surprised on Mitch Morse being released. You figure they would keep him around at least one more year, his last year of his contract, draft somebody, a center, to replace him. He was our team captain. He was still playing at a pretty good level, high level, right? Not the best center in the league, but definitely not the worst. He was probably in the middle of the pack there in centers. I still thought he had something left in him for at least one more season, but you got to save some money, and that was a way to do so. Trey White. I know a lot of y'all, man, are going to miss Trey. Trey was Sean McDermott's first draft pick. He's the one we traded back for, and the Chiefs got Mahomes. Y'all know the story. And Trey was awesome. Trey was an all-pro Trey. But unfortunately, this is the NFL, and injuries happen. And he suffered 2 big-time injuries. And I said it last season when he tore his Achilles, that was probably the end of Trey White in Buffalo, because those are just devastating injuries. He already had lost a step, in my opinion. He looked better in 2023, but he wasn't the old Trey. And he was getting paid a lot of money. And it just, for me, it wasn't worth the risk bringing back Trey White, not knowing what you're going to get, what Trey you're going to get. An older Trey White as well, right? He's getting up there in age. He's not super old or anything, but with those types of injuries in that contract, I understand why Brandon Beane did what he did. Jordan Poyer, I got to say, a little head scratching on that one. Why not let him, get his last year under, in Buffalo? He had one more year remaining. Draft a safety, let him learn under Jordan Poyer. I thought Jordan Poyer last year played at a pretty good high level, right? Though he had some injuries here and there. Obviously, the last 2 years, Jordan Poyer has dealt with some injuries. And that could be also Brandon Beane's thinking as well. You got to be on the field, right? So, it's sad to see those guys go. But once again, it had to be done. Nyheim Hines, I told you guys he was probably going to get released. He was released. Next time, bud, don't get on a jet ski when you know you shouldn't be on a jet ski. Where it doesn't matter what your excuse is. That's why it's in the contract why you don't get on one. Because of stupid shit like that can happen and ruin your career. I mean, maybe this guy gets on another roster. He might. But ACL is nothing easy to come back from. Von Miller also restructured his contract. And I believe it was either that or get cut from everything that I'm hearing. So we'll see what happens with that. I know there's a lot of incentives this year coming, for Von Miller if he gets those, so he can actually make money or more money if he achieves those. So maybe we'll see a Von Miller that's out to get his his incentives and earn that contract. But yeah, other moves that were made. Let's see. Let's pull this up real quick for you guys. So I know I'm missing a few here. So Deontay Hardy. Okay, so we all know Deontay Hardy was also released. Saran Neal, special teams player. I love Saran Neal, guys. I thought Saran Neal was an excellent special teams player, but he's getting paid handsomely. And once again, got to clear the cap. So had to be done. And then, yeah, so right there in the Deontay Hardy, obviously, 2-year deal that we did last year did not work out. Did not work out. He had one punt return for a touchdown, though it was a big touchdown. It was against the Dolphins. Other than that, he did nothing. Did nothing on offense, and maybe that's not his fault. Maybe that's the fault of Ken Dorsey early on, and Joe Brady really couldn't find anything for him by the time he took over as offensive coordinator. So, unfortunately, here we are. Now, they did restructure Rasul Douglas' contract, and that created 2.5 in savings. I told you about Von Miller. That created 8.645 million as well. So a little over 8 million, about 8.5, almost 9, really. The release of Poyer saved the Buffalo Bills 5.7. Saran Neal almost 3 million. Mitch Morse 8.5. So I understand in a way, but man, it's like you traded Ryan Bates. By the way, Ryan Bates too. I don't know if they're going to mention this here. We traded Ryan Bates to Chicago for a 5th-round pick. I almost think that Ryan Bates, this might have been Ryan Bates wanting to get out of Buffalo to be a starter, not just a depth piece. But now, what are you going to do? Who's going over to center? From what I heard, it's going to be McGovern. So now you got to fill the left guard position up in the draft or free agency. So offensive line, man, right when I thought things were going good, and I still believe in them, now we're missing a captain, a leader in Mitch Morse, which we all knew this was the last year anyways. We all knew it was a 50-50 chance that he could stay, right? But now we got to find that lead. Who's going to become that leader? Deion Dawkins? Is Deion Dawkins ready to step up and be that guy? I don't know. They're two different kind of players, right? So who's going to step up and be that captain on that line? Or the leader? I would think, like I said, Deion Dawkins, who's been here now the longest on that line, would be that guy. We'll see. Can McGovern be a good center in the NFL? I don't know. I know he played it in college, but the NFL is a different beast. Now who do we put at left guard? Right? David Edwards. We did re-sign. Does David Edwards become a starter? I like what I saw when he filled in here and there during the season when guy would go out or he had to come in for a play or two. I liked what I saw. And I'm guessing Brandon Beane did as well. And that's why they gave him an extension. But I think, it did kind of mess with the line a little bit. And I hope the Buffalo Bills find their center in the draft, or at least draft one, and just in case McGovern doesn't work out, and you have that in your back pocket, or get another free agent, a veteran. They're going to have to listen. Offensive line is so important, and now they kind of shifted things around a little bit. That kind of worries me a little bit, and also the leader factor part of it worries me a little as well. So we'll see who takes that responsibility, and I would assume it's Deion Dawkins. We'll find out. All right, let's get to this rest of this article. So, on Bradley Gelber said, a lot of people are tweeting out saying goodbye, saying his goodbye on Instagram. This is from Mitch Morse. He writes, the last 5 years has been such a blessing. Thank you to the Pagula family, along with the whole Buffalo Bills organization, for helping make Western New York home for me and my family. There are plenty of things that I will miss, but nothing will compare to the sadness of no longer being a part of that locker room. It was a special place full of special dudes. Much love. Yeah, man. Mitch Morse, man. Great dude. I got nothing but good things to say about Mitch Morse, man. It sucks that he had it. He had that concussion thing going on for a little bit. But he was a leader. Everybody respected him. He was a good player. It was just about business, man. At the end of the day, let's be real. It's about business. He's getting older. They understand that. It's 8.5 is a good savings. He was on his last year anyways. We needed to replace him after next year, even if he stayed. So, I get it. Kevin Massar says the Bills already have $40 million in cap space next season, and I expect that number to grow. Plus, adding 11 rookies to the team in April, the future is bright. And Rasul says, "Sheesh, Brother Bill." Y'all know Brother Bill does all the videos for the Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills video is pretty funny. I am no longer the man I woke up as this morning. I've seen things today. And right here, Len Vandon Boss says 7 years of incredible plays and heartfelt prayers. What a joy to walk with you and watch you grow. God has so much more for you. Love you, 27. Talking about Trey White. I got nothing but respect for Trey White. I feel terrible for Trey White, the things he went through the last few seasons. It's just devastating. It really is. We knew it, when he tore his Achilles last year and he threw his helmet. And I think the players, his teammates, knew it. And that's why they all felt so bad for him, because they probably saw the writing on the wall about his career, at least in Buffalo. Now, will somebody give him an opportunity? Probably. Well, we'll see, what Trey decides to do. Joe Marino, good guy. Old enough to remember 2000 when the Bills cut 3 Hall of Famers. And I remember this as well. Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, and Andre Reed. I believe that's when Thurman Thomas signed with the Miami Dolphins. Disgusting. And Bruce Smith went over to Washington. And I believe Andre Reed, I think he retired, I don't call him going to another team. But yeah, that was, listen, it had to be done. And this is a business, and I get it. PFF, Buffalo Bill says it's the end of an era. And yeah, those two right there, guys. Speaking of those two, and I didn't mention him yet, Micah Hyde. Micah Hyde is going to retire, guys. His wife already wrote a nice letter to Bills Mafia. Listen, man, the guy suffered some neck injuries throughout his career, 2 surgeries. He had stingers last year. He said he wasn't even sure if he's going to come back last year at a certain part of the season, because it was killing him. And I understand. And I think it's time, and he understands time. Jordan Poyer now, especially Jordan Poyer being released, Micah Hyde's career in the NFL is probably over, and he's retiring a Buffalo Bill, and that's awesome. It's awesome, man. So those two, best safety duo in Buffalo Bills history, without a doubt. They were awesome, man. Love those guys. They also were the start. They came here in 2017. They were start of the McBean era, right? It was the first really signings kind of that the Buffalo Bills did in 2017 when they brung in, Hyde from Green Bay and Poyer, I believe, from Cleveland as free agents. And guys, man, they really made their mark here in Buffalo. They made some unbelievable plays as Buffalo Bills, memorable plays as Buffalo Bills players that I'll never forget. The Micah Hyde interception against New England is one, obviously, that stands out for me. It was an unbelievable play, man. Jordan Poyer, everything he did on the field too, man. Leadership, hitting, man, dude laid it out. Everything out there on the field, man. So did Micah Hyde. Love those guys. Respect those guys. I'll miss those guys. I wish nothing but the best for them and their families moving forward. All right. Next up, let's see here. Ian Rappaport, if you are keeping track, both Connor McGovern in the AFC East play center. Yeah. So the Bills plan, like I said earlier, to move Connor McGovern to center this upcoming season. Meanwhile, David Edwards, who just signed a contract extension, is in line to start at guard, and that's kind of what I was telling you guys to start this podcast how I kind of see this going. However, I wouldn't like stamp that, right? Let's draft a center. Let's get some competition, or let's get a free agent, couple free agents in here, and compete with Edwards and McGovern. You know what I mean? Because last year it was the same thing when we had, when we got rid of Bernard or not Bernard, when God, I'm drawing a blank here. When our linebacker left for Chicago, and I can't believe I can't remember his name. That's because it seems like it's already been so long since he's been here. Anyways, and we thought that Dotson was going to be the guy to start at linebacker, and that just wasn't the case, right? But that's what they said early on. Yeah, and I cannot believe believe um, that I am messing up his name. Edmonds, Tremaine Edmonds, man. Guys, it's been a while since I did a video, and that's on me, guys. I apologize for that. It's just I've been in this funk. I've been in a major funk lately on just coming on live, doing videos, but I'm back. I'm starting to feel better. As you could tell, kind of my voice has gotten better. Like I was not that I was down or anything like that. It's just I remember I got sick a while back, and it took a while to get my voice back. And then obviously the long season for the Buffalo Bills is draining, and then getting kicked out of the playoffs again is just depressing, right? Even though I said I'm kind of used to it, you're really not. As a Buffalo Bills fan, it's tough. It's heartbreaking when your team gets thrown out of the playoffs, and you expect better results. And it just I expect it every year because I love this team. I think this team still has the capability of getting to a Super Bowl. Y'all know how I feel about Sean McDermott, though, so that's the only thing that worries me. But anyways, moving forward. Buffalo Sports Talk says Kevin Adams trades Casey Mitchell, Brandon Bean hold my beer. Yeah, so Brandon Bean making some moves here. All right, so I do want to mention one thing that kind of pissed me off before. We'll get to the rest of these real quick though. So let's see. These are just tweets out or X. Deontay Hardy, Bills Mafia. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for embracing me and my family. Love always. So he understands it's a business. He got paid. It's not like he didn't get paid for the 1 year. He didn't have to do much. So he has no hate towards the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen ripping his pants in Paris was the last straw for the Bills roster. Says Bradley Gilbert. Oh my God. And Air Raid, man, those are good dudes, man. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, thank you forever in our hearts forever. Absolutely. Buffalo Sports Off special teams legends Saron Neal will never be forgotten. Man, I love Saron Neal, man. Saron Neal was an absolute beast, man. But anyways, be done with that. We also, this one here, this move here, and of course, some of you guys are gonna be like, oh, it's a punter. Who gives a fuck? Guys, trust me, you give a fuck because when a punter has a shitty punt, guess what you're saying when you're watching the game? Oh, what the fuck? This shit, get this punter out of town. So it's not just, oh, who cares? The punter. It matters. It definitely matters. Look at the playoffs, right? Look how terrible Sam Martin was. Look how terrible the field position was because he couldn't punt it past 40 yards. Guess who we bring in? Guess who we signed yesterday? Hawk. Matt Hawk. Why? That guy also can't kick it past 40 yards. So now we're going to have Hawk and Martin battle for the punter position when both can't punt past 40 yards. Both are struggling punters. What are you doing? Why would you do that? Now, the only reason I could see this happening or why he did this, Brandon Bean, is they're going to release Sam Martin and save some money and draft a punter or bring in an undrafted punter and have him compete with Hawk. But why rush the gun? You're telling me There's no other punters out there next week when free agency begins that you could have signed to compete with whoever you're going to bring in, through the draft or UDFA. It had to be Matt fucking Hawk. And this is what I go back to on the whole Sean McDermott shit. Sean McDermott has his guys that he likes to bring back. The AJ Kleins, this fucking Matt Hawk guy. Right? He's done it over and over and over since he's been here in 2017. Right? There's guys that stayed on the payroll getting paid big time bucks. And there's there's a few more. Like I said, guys, my head is all over the map. Oh, Trent Murphy is another guy we kept on the roster. We could have cut him, saved 8 something, like 8.5. If we keep him on the roster, he doesn't even play the whole season pretty much. Pretty much on the bench the whole time or inactive. And that's because it was a Sean McDermott guy. How about all these special team players that Sean McDermott brings back, signs the contracts, and yet our special teams is one of the worst in the NFL or towards the middle, whatever. Still not good. And he preaches special teams. He signs these guys, his guys, and our special teams is not very good. Makes no sense. So Matt Hawk, former Buffalo Bills punter, who got beat out by Matt Ariza, who, by the way, got picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs. Why? Because they're willing to take a chance on a guy that could change the field with one punt, change the course of, really change the game. They'd rather take a chance on that, see how, worst case doesn't work. Okay, whatever. I'm sure they're going to bring competition in. They're not just going to go, hey, Matt Ariza is the guy. But it's worth for them, it was probably a cheap signing, worth it for them, because you might potentially have one of the best punters in the NFL right there, a little hidden treasure that was just hanging around. And Brandon Beane, Buffalo Bills, and I love Brandon Beane, by the way. They don't want to take a chance. Why? Why not bring this guy back? You released him. He made the team. He beat the guy, Hawk. He beat the guy out for a reason, because he was a better punter. And clearly, you weren't worried about his holding at that time. Clearly, he could hold for Tyler Bass. And they were, from what I remember, Tyler Bass and him had no problems. They were talking in camp. Everything was going smooth. He won the job. You go out and sign fucking Matt Hawk. Why? What in the hell is going on? What is the deal with that, man? I don't get it. You know what you're going to get out of Matt Hawk. So, like I said, the only thing I hope for is I'm right. They cut Sam Martin. They bring in a punter. They draft a punter or a UDFA, and he beats, let's pray to God, that he beats Matt Hawk. Because if Matt Hawk is our punter week 1, I'm telling you right now, we better hope to God that we barely ever punt. Because he ain't going to do shit. And yes, there's been some people on Twitter that tweeted, oh, but he's a good holder. Look how good Tyler Bass was and Matt Hawk was here. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, guys, do you remember Sam Martin was a good holder in 2022? And a decent punter. And that's why we gave him the extension. Remember? Going into 2023, we paid him and Tyler Bass. So it's not like Sam Martin was a shitty holder. Don't even go there. Don't make that the excuse why Tyler Bass sucked last year. Tyler Bass sucked last year because he just sucked last year. Had nothing to do with Sam Martin. Sam Martin sucked last year because Sam Martin's getting older and can't punt in Buffalo weather. And really, he can't punt in a dome anymore. Look at week 1. That terrible punt that led to a return for a touchdown against Jets. And y'all telling me that punters don't mean anything. Of course they do. So yeah, it kind of bothers me a little bit with stuff like that. It's mind-boggling why we continue to do that with certain players out there. Why we bring back the Kleins. Why we bring back the Matt Hawks. Why we keep the Trent Murphys. Right? There's other players too. I'm just, my mind right now is all over the map with this fucking stupid Hawk decision. Other than that, I'm okay with the moves. Like I said, the Mitch Morse, I wish they would have addressed it last year. To be honest with you, I wish there were centers that were out there in the draft that I liked that they could have drafted and had at least on the team learning under Mitch Morse. Instead, you're going to just roll the dice and hope McGovern is the guy that he could beat, that he was in college when he was a center. I don't know. That's a risky move. I'll be honest with you. Risky move. And that's why I hope the Bills draft a center or get one in free agency to compete with McGovern, not just hand them over that responsibility. And then, of course, I told you earlier, the leadership role. Who's going to be the leader on that offensive line? Mitch Morse is not here no more. And I don't know if like I said, can Deion Dawkins take that responsibility? We'll see, because I have a feeling he's going to have to. But usually it's a center. So we'll find out. But I think it's going to have to be Deion Dawkins. So guys, now free agency starts next week. We have we're going to probably, there's more deals or more moves going to get done before the 13th, because we're still, I believe, in the red. I expect Josh Allen's contract to get restructured. I expect Deion Dawkins as well, his contract to get maybe get an extension. There's other moves that they can make to free up some cap space. So I do expect some more moves to happen. I don't know about releases. Maybe Sam Martin, like I said earlier. Maybe there is a couple more releases, but we'll see. But they do need to make some room to sign some free agents. So next week will be interesting. Who do they bring in? Is Brandon Beane trying to, get a key free agent? At least one? I know he said he wasn't going to, but now that he's done some, things that were tough to do, maybe, because these players have been here for so long, tough decisions. Maybe he made those on purpose so he could sign a key player, key free agent, instead of just signing one-year deals that aren't going to really move the needle. Now, I did forget to tell you, Taylor Rapp got a 3-year deal, $14.5 million. It's not a terrible deal, but he's going to probably be a starting safety. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little concerned. I thought he filled in well last year for Poyer, but he also suffered injuries last year, and he wasn't a full-time starter, and he did suffer injuries. So can he stay healthy? Also, he got penalized a lot. He's a little bit too aggressive. Can he slow that down a little bit? I don't know. It could just be his playing style. But is he a starting safety in the NFL is my point. Can he be a leader back there like Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde was? I don't know. I don't see it right now. Maybe he can be. But man, guys, this defense is getting a total overhaul, right? Overhaul, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's getting revamped, right? Like we're losing a ton of guys. Poyer, Hyde, Trey White. We just lost 3 captains? I mean, I'm being real. So there's going to be a lot of young talent that, guys in the draft that are probably going to be starting at safety. Who's going to be starting next to Rapp? It's going to be a rookie. Is it going to be another free agent that we bring in? A veteran? Who knows? Very, very interesting. So that's why I'm telling you guys, next week is something to really watch, because it'll really determine how the draft's going to go on who we get. Because there's some good free agents out there. It's just, what is Brandon Beane willing to give up to get these free agents? Is he going to wait like last year after the draft and pick himself up a Rapp and a Leonard Floyd on some cheaper 1-year deals, just to have those veteran presence in here? I don't know. We'll find out. So watch next week, guys. Watch closely. Let's see what happens. Yeah, man. But yeah, sad day for Bills Mafia. I get it. But it all had to be done. And let's just hope Brandon Beane nails this draft and free agency. I told you guys last week when we did Friday Night Lights, I felt like this is probably the most important. This is the most crucial offseason for Brandon Beane and the Buffalo Bills, because of all the pieces that are leaving. All of the key pieces that were here for a long time are out the door. So we'll find out. But anyways, guys, tomorrow night, Friday Night Lights, 8:30. Me and Mikey return. You don't want to miss that. We'll be going over everything I just pretty much talked about and more in depth. Get Mikey's side of things. And that's it, man. So once again, Bills Mafia, I love you. And as always, go Bills. I am out of here. Peace.